Welcome to our course selection evening for next year's courses. I'm Mr. Kohut. I'm the principal here at the high school. I'm joined by Ms. Zotto, who's our director of guidance. And our content leaders who are now heading out toward the Atrium. You'll be meeting them soon, so they're going to be out in the Atrium, along with some of our student ambassadors who will be leading tours and also answering any student questions. If the student ambassadors could come up quickly and just introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Olivia Barletta. I'm a freshman at Swampscott High School. I'm involved in a lot of things here. Today I'm the representative for the Innovation Pathway. I'm also in the Early College Program and in Environmental Club, so I hope you guys check those out.
Hi, my name is Brian Shekel. I'm also in the Environmental Club. I also run track, and I'm part of the band here.
Hi everyone, I'm Miranda Moscoso. I'm a senior here at Swampscott High School. I'm the vice president of the senior class. I'm in Anti-Defamation League, Toys for Local Children, National Honor Society, student ambassador. I'm on the yearbook committee, and I also play softball.
And you're also a student here. Thank you, student ambassadors. So welcome to our course selection evening. So the purpose of this evening is to talk about, number one, the purpose of course selection, and then also the process. How many of you are either rising ninth graders or families of rising ninth graders? Just quick show of hands. Okay, so this is entirely new for many of you, and that's totally fine. So Ms. Zotto is going to walk you through kind of the process, the big picture idea of why we do this evening, but then also the process of how to go about selecting courses and how your teachers will recommend courses in Aspen. So once again, I am Dennis Kohut. I'm the principal here. Our administrative team, they're not with us this evening. We have two assistant principals here at the high school. We have Ms. Finn and Mr. Norkin, and of course, Emily Zotto. So once again, we'll spend some time in here reviewing the program of studies, which is, you can find that on the website, the high school website, in the guidance area on the tab. We'll talk about how you go about finding electives, what the graduation requirements are, what the Innovation Pathways program is. We're now in year 2 of Innovation Pathways, and then a how-to with Aspen. As I mentioned right after the performance, we have all of our content leaders are positioned out in the Atrium. It's informal, it's a Q&A. You can stop by and check in with each of them to talk about courses. If you have specific questions about courses or electives that you're interested in, that would be an opportunity for you to ask those questions. Our student ambassadors will also be able to take folks on tours if you are interested, or you could also just ask questions to the student ambassadors and they'd be able to provide you with a student perspective on course selection. So without further ado, Ms. Zotto, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Kohut. Nice to see all of you. Some familiar faces, some new faces. Again, my name is Emily Zotto. I'm one of the school counselors here at the high school. We have 3 school counselors. We break down by, for our advisee groups, based on last name. For students with last names that begin with A through G, those students are assigned to Mrs. Sturma. I have students with last names that begin with H through M, and Mrs. Mazzola has students with N through Z. So the benefit of having the same counselor all 4 years is that we really do have an opportunity to get to know the students and the families, oftentimes many siblings, and so for us it's a really excellent way to develop a relationship where we get to know you and are in an excellent position by the time senior year rolls around. It seems far away now, but it comes really quickly to help you plan for your future, whatever that is. Before we get started, and this is a very big challenge for me, is to not talk too much because we have a band concert, and they need to practice because their big show is on Wednesday. So any questions that you may have, we can answer after the fact in the Atrium. Again, all the content leaders, so math, English, science, social studies, and world language, fine and practical arts, can answer all questions that you might have. Okay. The Swampscott High School Guidance Counseling website has all of this information for you, so just a little bit of housekeeping. If you're looking for this presentation, the program of studies that we'll be talking about, any forms, any timelines, all of that is going to be on our Swampscott High School Guidance and Counseling website. If you can't find it, check there first. Also, we're obviously available through email as well as the Swampscott Middle School counselors. We have a printout of the graduation requirements, and I have trouble reading that even with my glasses, so I'll just give you a quick review. So for those of you who are coming into Swampscott High School, the graduation requirements, the idea is that behind all of this with course selection is that we're helping students to develop a schedule that is part of a tactic to meet their college and or career goals. And so this is part of the picture. Miranda talked about being a senior and thinking about the future, but she's also involved in a number of different things, both in and out of school. And those are all different ways that she's building her experience at Swampscott High School, both in and out of the classroom to meet her own college and career goals. Same with Brian and Olivia. So we're working really hard on choosing activities both in school, sometimes it's within your schedule, and outside of school to enhance kind of who you are as a person, whatever that may be as you leave Swampscott High School as a graduate. Graduation requirements help students get there. Many students will find that this happens naturally and organically, so I hate to kind of go through this as a list. It's much more exciting in real life as it is up here on the board, but really 4 years of English, 3 years required for math. However, almost 95% of our students go on to a 2 or a 4-year college or continue their education in some way. And our Massachusetts State University system, so Salem State, UMass Lowell, UMass Amherst, Westfield State, all of these schools require 4 years of math from student applicants. So they won't even consider your application unless you have those 4 years of math. Really, like 99% of our student graduates, in any case, take that 4th year of math. So English, math, science, and we have 3 years of a lab science. For grade 9 students, we start with biology, so the sequence, generally speaking, is biology, chemistry, physics. Again, like a very significant percentage, over 90%, are taking that 4th year of science as well, just so you have some sense. Social studies is a 3-year requirement for us for graduation, but again, is generally a department that students choose electives into their 4th year as well. One requirement for the state is a U.S. history class, so all students will take U.S. history. Generally speaking, that happens in grade 11, so nothing that happens right now. What did I skip? World language. There's a requirement for 2 consecutive years here at the high school. Again, generally speaking, most students go on to take 3 and sometimes 4 years of a world language as well. So if you started at the middle school, we suggest very strongly that you continue with that language and you build on that foundation. At some point, if you'd like to switch a language or change it up and add a new language, we recommend students kind of think about that after they've met the requirement and kind of stick with whatever they've had. Obviously, there are other circumstances, but generally speaking. So in addition to that, we have the business or the arts, the fine and practical arts that Mr. Coat talked about. We kind of like to think about this as like a big umbrella where you're sort of satisfying the requirement. There's a lot of flexibility within this. So there's a lot of individual choice for students to pick electives that are important and meaningful to them that still kind of check this box or satisfy the requirement. Again, the idea is that we're trying to help the students meet their college and career goals with their schedule. So the requirement under that umbrella for certain classes is called personal financial literacy. So students take that in either grade 11 or 12, generally speaking, and they learn about money management. Really, that's connected to them as an individual going through life. So how to think about a mortgage, leasing a vehicle, renting an apartment, how to develop a personal budget, balance a checkbook or your checking account, however that may be. So it's a personal financial literacy. That's required under that umbrella or large bubble of classes. In addition to the personal financial literacy, students will then take 2 electives in any of those departments. So it could be students taking chorus, band, 3D art and design, design for the stage, the innovation pathway classes, so advanced manufacturing 1, 2, or 3. You may decide to take ceramics, TV studio, digital film. There are a number of classes, as you can see. So just 2 of those will satisfy that requirement. So they're taking personal financial literacy at some point during high school and 2 other electives that will satisfy this business and arts graduation requirement. And then in wellness education, we have grade 9 students will take a semester of PE. Generally speaking, it's in the beginning of the semester, so all grade 9 students will be together in one semester of PE. So it's called Foundation of Fitness. So students will take that in semester 1. Sophomores or grade 10 students will take that in semester 2. And then junior or senior year, they are offered and required to take 2 different quarter-long classes, adventure and lifelong activities and active games. Students at this point have a choice in that. So there's some archery, there's some pickleball, there's some really cool opportunities for physical fitness and wellness as the students get older as well. In that same department, students will also take a quarter of health, grade 9 or 10, and then again 11 or 12. So there's 2 quarters of health and PE all throughout high school every year. That's based on state requirements. And then finally, under administration, the students are required to take 1 quarter of what we call Swampscott High School Seminar or SHS Seminar. Students might see it in their course request list or schedule. And that is a class designed to help students transition from grade 9 and or other schools and districts or countries as they come in as a transfer student, acclimate and transition to Swampscott High School environment. Learning about the resources, learning about policies and procedures and protocols and who's who and where do you go if you have a challenge about your schedule or if you have questions about scholarships or you have a friend conflict, those types of things. So it's kind of like learning how to be a student within the context of Swampscott High School. So those are the graduation requirements. And then again, there's a ton of flexibility for students navigating the electives because we have the 8 periods that we schedule for in our schedule. So that means that with each period, so with the 8 periods, each is worth 5 credits or the equivalent depending how the schedule breaks down, year or semester. So if possible, 40 credits overall. We ask the students to enroll in 35 credits. So it's our requirement that students enroll in at least 35 credits each year, meaning the equivalent of 7 periods out of that 8-period possible schedule. Students ask a lot, and maybe some students are wondering, will I get a study period? I heard about that study period at high school where you get to go to a classroom and you can listen to music maybe or get some work done. It is critical, and we definitely believe this, that students need to strike a balance among their academic activities, their demands outside of school, their family life, their social life. We ask a lot of adolescents right now in life, and it's a long day. And so sometimes it is nice and totally needed for students to have a directed study where they can go and have some downtime and or complete work in school because they have busy schedules outside of school, whether that's athletics or work or babysitting or what have you. So it's important that students do have that balance, but they won't have any more than an equivalent of 1 year of study, or excuse me, 1 period of study for the full year. It may break down in different ways based on the student's schedule, whether classes are a semester, in semester 1 or semester 2, but the equivalent of 5 credits somewhere along the way in their schedule. So keep that in mind as you as students and as families kind of coach your students on what electives to choose and how that's going to look as a big picture. We want to take just a few minutes to talk about the Innovation Pathway program. We just launched it this year. This is in part a grant-funded program, and it very much connects to our belief that we are providing academic excellence to all students, regardless of their interests and their skills and their talents. One of the ways that we are trying to help enhance our academic programming is through the Innovation Pathway program. It is designed for students to work in the design process of engineering. Part of its design, part of its building. The pathway that we chose through the state is advanced manufacturing. And for those students out there and those folks that don't know what that means, I certainly didn't when I first heard advanced manufacturing. I immediately, a few years ago, thought factory, assembly lines, machines, and I didn't really have a sense how enormous this field of study can be, and it is applied, really, we just kind of say it means like the modern and innovative way of making things. So anything from the design of an Air Force One sneaker to lampshades that are offered at Bed Bath & Beyond to the lighting that's in your house, whatever it is, that it's an innovative way of making things. And so how that plays out in the building is that we have a fabrication lab or a shop that involves a ton of machines around woodworking, but there's also 3D printers, laser cutters, a CNC router machine. And so the idea is that we're bringing the design process, learning how to build and create, and then actually building and creating things. Part of this Innovation Pathway program is advanced level coursework as students get older, and then finally an internship that's like this culminating experience out in the field for students at a local organization or company. So students apply through expressing their interest. It's not an application process like you either make it in or you don't. It is really based on students' interests and what the program needs in terms of additional students. We are looking to have probably somewhere between 14 and 18 students apply as this new cohort coming in, and that could or will include students who are currently in grade 8, so going into grade 9, and STEM students who are in grade 9 going into grade 10. Any student in the school can take these classes, so they're called Advanced Manufacturing 1, 2, and 3. So if a student is out there and has already taken one, they can still take the second class in the sequence without committing to the Pathway program. The Pathway program really explicitly asks that these students complete the technical courses. There are 2 of them required, in addition to a minimum of 2 advanced level courses. Those advanced level courses can be accomplished through coursework taken here at Swampscott High School. So for example, an AP Calc class or an English class or another advanced class that we don't have yet. Here, maybe it's in 3D design or CAD, or it could be a machine tooling class, or a class at North Shore Community College, or a combination of the 2. So a requirement for these technical classes, plus advanced coursework, plus this internship. So that program may not be for everyone, but the classes certainly are open and offered to any student that is interested in those classes. And so all of this information is in the program of studies. We have met with all grade levels at this point, so all of our current grade 9, 10, and 11 students, and we started to go to the middle school today. We will go again tomorrow, so the students are all hearing the same information. We asked the students really to just use the program of studies and our course catalog and information as a guide to helping them pick their electives. So right now, we are trying to build a master schedule and give students a schedule, ultimately, usually over the summer, that's available, that really is meaningful to them and exciting. And so they can figure out what they want to do and what they want to take by looking through that program of studies. When the students navigate the program of studies, as they think about the process for themselves and kind of what to take, our job as counselors and as administrators is to help students think about the big picture and striking that balance with core academics, graduation requirements, elective classes, and then everything else that they have going on outside of school. And again, we know that they have a lot going on outside of school in myriad different ways. So we want students to also pay attention to the level that they've been recommended for. Students who are currently in grade 8, we try to impress upon the students and the families that those teachers have spent the longest amount of time with you and are in the best position, mostly, to be able to recommend what course and what level students will be taking in grade 9. That's not always the case. A student may disagree with that teacher to some extent, or really have developed an interest in a particular subject area and want to do something different, and we'll talk about that after. But we ask that students and families take some time to really thoughtfully consider the course and the level that their current teacher is recommending them for. So that will start at the middle school and has already started at the high school within the next week or so. In talking to Mr. Kalishman, he says he's going to send out some communication to students and families about when that process should wrap up. But the idea is that teachers are having conversations with students about what class and what level they're recommending for at the high school level, which is also happening currently with our high school students. So that's kind of like the teacher responsibility. The teachers will put those classes in each individual student's Aspen account. So the students don't need to go and choose English or the math class. The teachers do that for them. Same with at the middle school. So those will already be in there. All of our classes at Swampscott High School are college preparatory, meaning they're helping students to prepare for college level work once they are there. All of the curriculum is the same or very, very similar, except for the AP, which I'll talk about in a second. So college prep, advanced college prep, and honors follows the same curriculum, but it goes in a little bit of a different pace. So the honors is going to move more quickly and may have less structure at the honors level and be more supported at the CP level. Certainly, It's all covering the same material, but really it's about pace and breadth and depth of the material. And so we like to kind of think about it that way. And again, every student is different. We said today at the middle school, what's right for you is right for you is right for you. Try not to pay too much attention to what your neighbor has done or what an older sibling has done or someone says about a class or a teacher or an experience. Each individual student is their own student and will never be exactly the same in terms of schedule as their neighbor, their friend, or a sibling. Everyone is going to be different, and it's really important that students take this time to look at grade 9 as an opportunity to have a fresh start and really be who they are, whoever that is. And so we've got, sorry, I kind of went off track for a sec. So we've got college prep, advanced college prep, and honors, and then AP, which students won't see until earliest in grade 10, which is a college level equivalent course and level in different subject areas. Depending on the year, we'll offer 17 or 18 different AP level courses each year. And again, that begins in grade 10. That's typically. And in grade 10, it's with AP Euro. So students won't see an advanced placement level course until grade 10, at which point we'll talk about that again. So the levels are in the program of studies, and students can find that. I will mention the course placement review process. So if a student does want to, what we used to say is override a teacher recommendation or kind of change the teacher's recommendation, there is a form called the course placement review form, and it's a Google form, so students and families will just take a look at it together, have a very serious discussion about it, and then complete the form. The idea is that if you complete the form by the due date, that change will be made in the schedule request list. The only item to consider within that is the way that our master schedule is built is based on what teachers recommend for students and students, their course placement reviews, what they want to take, the graduation requirements that are needed for all of our incoming students, and also the electives that they choose. So we base our number of classes and sections on the information that we get through this course selection process. And so what we'll say to students is, yes, you can override these classes. However, know that if you override into a geometry honors class and you came from the 8th grade with a pretty solid foundation of algebra, but you came in and that geometry class was just too much for the student, that's okay. However, we will do our absolute best to accommodate a possible switch if it gets to that and the student's going for extra help and is using our X block, which is our additional instructional support time at the high school, and seeing the teacher after school and has been communicative and everyone agrees it's kind of not the right fit. We will try our best to accommodate 100%. However, it will be based on enrollment and the scheduling possibility of a movement to another class. And that would be true no matter what as well. So that's really important as students think about the course placement review process as the possible consequence of that if the student gets in a situation where it's just too much. We absolutely are not in the business of punishing students for making decisions, and we absolutely will encourage students to take on additional academic risks, but really being thoughtful about that process as students and families consider the teacher recommendations that have been made. So this is just the typical look of a freshman or grade 9 schedule. All students are going to have those 5 core classes, so English, math, science, social studies, and world language. So that's 5 out of the 8 total possible periods that we'd schedule for. And then in addition to that, the graduation requirements, so certainly they're going to have that PE in there, that foundation for lifelong fitness, and then you'll see above the arrow, if you can see that far, Swampscott High School Seminar, which is a quarter class, Contemporary Adolescence, which is our health class, and then it looks like the student hasn't yet picked an elective. So in the next schedule, we'll see the student chose marketing, and it did end up in their schedule. So right now, what we've been telling the students is we're not building the actual schedule now. We're building like a wish list of all the classes that you need. So the core classes, plus your graduation requirements, plus your electives. So this is a wish list. This is like, we're really hoping that you get all these classes. Students may not end up with this exact list, but it's probably going to be pretty close. And that's where the student's responsibility comes in. So the student's going to take that program of studies. It's all online and available. They take the program of studies, they look through it. what's been really cool at the middle school that they've liked, what are some of their skills and their talents, and what kinds of environments do they like. Read, talk about it together as a family, talk to the school counselor about it, talk to your friends about it, see what you think. Understand what you're looking at. So the students will look at the course number, so the 029 in this situation, for the Student Technology Innovation Integration Help Desk. We affectionately call this the Tech Ninjas. Many of our students in grade 8 are Tech Ninjas. It's students who volunteer and get credit for work that they do on both the software and the hardware at the middle school and at the high school. So here at the high school, they work out of our library with one of our librarian and STEM coordinator folks. Her name is Brandy Wilbur, but there's a whole department up there. They're coming and going all day long, fixing computers, working with staff, working with students, answering questions on the email that's associated with the Tech Ninjas. So they're working all day. So this is a possible elective for a quarter. So they look at the course number, they look at the course name to make sure they understand what it is, the level, in this situation it's college prep, how long it is, so they can see how many credits they get by seeing how long the class lasts. So it's a 1.25 for a quarter. Sorry, should have said we've got 4 quarters every year, quarter 1, quarter 2. It's the first part of the year. We call that semester 1. Quarters 3 and quarter 4 happen the second part of the year. That's semester 2. So when you see the quarter 1 through quarter 4, that means it's just one of those 4 quarters, and there's a 1.25 credits. 2.5 for a semester class, 5 for a full year class. And then there's the course description. It's really important for students to pay attention to that eligibility. So, oh my gosh, that sports marketing class sounds so awesome. Can I take it? And so this is how you find out. You go and look at the course description, and you see the eligibility, and you would find out grades 9 through 12, you can take sports marketing. So that's just an example. This is a list of all the electives just for grade 9, which is pretty exciting. We want students to be able to pick things that they're excited about. This is a new schedule for us. The first year ever we've had an 8-period schedule with the kind of setup that we have. We're pumped about this. One of the reasons why is it offers every student the opportunity to take classes that they really like starting from the beginning. So some students, any student, so all students are going to take that 35 credits. So it forces students to be in a position to explore, to try new things, to, I'm being mindful of time, to be excited about their learning and start something from grade 9 so they're building those interests and those skills as they get older and are therefore in a good position to be able to apply to college or go right into the workforce or go into the military. So whatever it is, we're psyched about it because it can start in grade 9. Students who have an IEP, also, I forget what it's called in the middle school, but students are assigned a class at the high school, so it would be part of one of those 8 periods called task management. But the task management class is great because it's an academic support class, so they're getting that full year of that with 5 credits, plus they still have that 8th period. So they'll be able to have that level of balance and have some calm during their day and be able to initiate all of their interests through their elective process as well. So I'm just going to quickly transition to the how-to. I know I talk a lot. It's like a really big weakness. I'm sorry. But thank you for hanging in there with me. The how-to of it, the portals for the high school students are open. Mr. Kauschman is working with the tech team right now to open the portal process, so it will be available shortly if it's not already. I don't want to promise because I'm not Mr. Kauschman, so I won't say anything, but it's coming soon. The process is this. Teachers recommend the courses. They show up in Aspen. We put in all the graduation requirements. So if you forgot everything I said during the graduation requirement slide, that's fine. It's all going to be put in for the students. The only thing the students really need to pay attention to is the levels and really thinking about that and the big picture and this idea of balance and the electives. So the students are going to go in. They'll see under the My Info tab. You can go to the next one. This is what the student user interface looks like. The students go in. They click on My Info. There's a bunch of tabs on the left. The requests is, I think, down towards the bottom. They click on the request tab. They should see, and they should start to see those classes populate, which classes and levels the teachers are recommending them for, and then which graduation requirements are still left over and outstanding and what needs to be accomplished. So for the grade 9 students, they'll have some up there, but they'll also have some in their list. And then the students go and select the electives. There's a select button. You can go to the next one. Kind of a confusing slide, sorry. So there's a select button right there on the left under primary requests. We ask that all students select at least 2 primary choice electives, so 2 first choice ones. So like, I'm really psyched about marketing and I really want that innovation pathways class. I'm picking marketing a lot today, I don't mean to, but I definitely want band, and I also want that innovation pathway class, or I'm really interested in TV studio and media art, whatever it is, pick the 2 first choice, and then the best way to get a schedule that is the best for a student that they're most excited about is to actually then go and pick the alternates. So if marketing doesn't work out, then maybe I do want to do sports marketing. I was really just kind of interested in a more like survey or intro to marketing, but sports marketing sounds cool too. So I'll put that as an alternate. So if there's no possible way that marketing will work out because it conflicts with everything else that I need to take, I want the computer to see if sports marketing will fit in one of those holes. This is not done by a human being. So this is all done by the computer. Once the schedules are made and posted, and students have them in hand for grade 9, that will be something right before the school begins. That's when we can kind of look at things manually and see if we can move anything around. If the student really didn't get anything that they wanted, we'd be happy to take a look. But right now, we're still just building that list. So they're going to My Info, Requests, picking their primary choices, some alternates, and they're pushing Post. So a student asked today, are those choices permanent? And they're not permanent until you push Post. The students really have to do their job, think about it, add them in Aspen, and then push Post. Don't stress if someone pushes the wrong button or does the wrong elective. It's all totally fine. The counselors can always go back and change. So we were saying to the students, like, more is more. It's fine if you put more in there by accident. We can always go back and change it. So we don't want the students to stress about that. All problems here can be solved. Okay, how am I doing? Course placement, okay. So I talked briefly about this course placement review process. So really, as a counselor, I would just again ask that students and families really consider this big picture. Grade 9 is a transition from grade 8. There's homework that's demanded out of every single class that they're gonna see. It's a new schedule, there's new people, there's new faces, it's a new building, it's a big year. High expectations, we're really excited. We want the students to have a balance. We don't want them to burn out. We don't want them to be overburdened. We don't want them to be stressed. We do want them to take academic risks. We do want them to be excited, but there is definitely a line there. And so work together as a family and or with your resources, whether it's your counselor or the counselor at the high school, to figure out what balanced list is going to be right for your student. It really is important that we consider that as we go through this process. The course placement review form can be filled out at any time. As long as it's completed by April 25th, you'll be all set. So students can start looking now and having those conversations, and as long as the process is kind of like moves along and everyone does their job, then we can get to work on building that master schedule. So I know we're gonna do questions and answers in the atrium. Sorry I talked a lot. Thank you, I'm still working on it. Any final words?
Thanks for coming. And again, if you have any questions or if you'd like to go on a tour of the building, please head out to the atrium and check in with the content leaders or some of the student ambassadors. Once again, Mr. Kalishman's going to be sending any of the paperwork probably via email to you all this week, and they'll open up the portal to put in course recommendations in the middle school also starting soon. Thanks very much for coming.